This is Tracy Thacker. Thanks to everybody who is joining us this week on New Notes, locally here in Southern California on 90.1 FM, KBPK, and all over the world on the internet at kbpk-fm.com. This week's featured artist is Diane DeStasio, and she is joining us this week. Diane, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Tracy.
You bet. Thanks for joining us this week on New Notes. Diane, we always like to start off this show by building what we call context to who the singer-songwriter is. So please take some time. Tell us where you grew up and how your love of music got started in your life.
Well, I grew up in Northern California in Silicon Valley, the Sunnyvale, Los Altos area, which is about 40 minutes south of San Francisco. And my love for music started basically because I was taking ballet lessons and I was listening to a lot of classical music. And then when I got into high school, I really started to develop a love for rock because I always really felt like there was a lot of similarities between classical music and rock music because they both expressed emotions in, powerful ways.
How did you get involved in opera?
I got involved in opera. I got a scholarship to USC in Southern California and started my opera training at USC and finished my opera training at New England Conservatory of Music in Boston. And I developed a love for opera actually when I moved to Las Vegas, and I was dancing in Las Vegas, and I didn't start singing until I moved to Las Vegas.
So you're telling me that while you were dancing in Vegas, you discovered that you could sing opera?
I did. I know that sounds crazy, but I started singing in church in Las Vegas. It was a non-denominational church, and I did not realize until that time that I had this really natural high voice. And that was where I started to listen to opera music and just developed a love for opera music. I had not listened to opera music. I had listened to instrumental classical, but I had not listened to opera until that point in my life.
Pretty amazing. Diane, we've had past featured artists on this show who have sung opera, and it's something that they all said started at an early age and was developed through teaching and teachers of voice. And here you are telling me that you learned it while at church. That is pretty amazing.
Yes, it is. I did not have voice lessons or grow up listening to opera as a child. But I loved Freddie Mercury. I love some of these rock singers that could have easily transitioned into opera singers. So I think I always had those sounds in my head and loved it, and really secretly wanted to be a rock singer, but my voice just wasn't that kind of a voice.
This week's featured artist is Diane DeStasio, and her brand new CD out is called Vox Eterna. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
See, I got it correct, and that is Latin. Diane, before we get to the first song that you have released to radio stations out there, let me ask this question. So you have learned that you can sing opera style and you're living in Las Vegas. Who was it who came along and told you that it might be a good thing to sing? Was it friends or was it someone in the business?
No, it was friends. And when they heard me, they just said, you really should think about going to school and go into the opera program because you have this amazing voice. And so it was with the encouragement of friends that I auditioned at USC and got a full vocal scholarship.
Well, I thought we'd get into our first single. It has been released out there to radio stations. It's a remake, so tell us how you came about recording the song called Nights in White Satin.
Well, I really wanted to do a cover song, and I've listened to probably 300 different songs with my producer, Billy Smiley. And what I loved about Nights in White Satin is that it already was a combination of like symphony and symphonic rock, which I believe it's been labeled as. And I loved the combination of the strings and the elements of the rock and just the whole message of the song, which had that yearning and longing, for unrequited love. And it's very similar to a lot of, opera, classical music, where there's just it's the magnification of that emotion, of desiring something that you either can't have or that you want. And I love the lyrics, and I think it's beautifully written, as everyone knows, by Justin Hayward. So that's why I selected it. And I really wanted to make it my own by using my voice as the flute part. In the original, they have the flautist in the middle, and I use my voice as the flute part in this.
Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send. Beauty I'd always missed with these eyes before. Just what the truth is, I can't say anymore. 'Cause I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, I love you. Gazing at people, some hand in hand, just what I'm going through, they can't understand. Some try to tell me thoughts they cannot defend, just what you want to be. You will be in the end, and I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh, nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written,